Hey y'all! Thought we'd pop in today to talk about something that every sewist, crafter, and pattern lover has probably run into at least once. Torn pattern pieces. You know that moment. You're feeling organized and your fabric's pressed and your pins are lined up like little soldiers and you're cutting out your pattern oh so carefully. You lift it up to move it or to pin it down again and rip! That awful sound of paper giving up on you. It's like your project just betrayed you. But don't panic. A torn pattern isn't the end of the world. In fact, it's one of the easiest problems to fix. And once you know the right way to do it, you'll never stress about it again. I promise. So today we are going to cover why patterns tear, the wrong ways people try to fix them, and my favorite method that keeps your patterns usable, heat safe, and looking practically brand new. I'll also talk about a few bonus tricks to kind of reinforce your old patterns and prevent future rips before they happen. Let's start with why pattern pieces tear in the first place. Sewing patterns are printed on what's called tissue paper. It's basically the same stuff that's inside gift bags, just slightly tougher. It's meant to be lightweight so it doesn't affect the shape or weight of your fabric while you're cutting, but that also makes it super fragile. There are a few common culprits for tears. Overpinning. Too many pins too close to the edge can pull the paper apart. Tugging or shifting when positioning, well, the pattern sticks a little to the fabric, and when you lift it, it pulls. Repeated folding and unfolding are another culprit. The creases weaken the paper over time, especially if you store patterns flat in a humid room. And then the sneaky one, ironing. If you iron your patterns directly, which, by the way, you should not do, but if you do, it can make the paper brittle. So rips happen, no matter how careful you are. What matters is how you fix them. Now, let's talk about the classic fix most people reach for, tape. Usually, Scotch tape or packing tape, whatever's closest to the sewing machine. And yes, technically it works for a little while. It holds the paper together. You can keep cutting, maybe even pin or trace around it. But the moment you touch an iron to it, you're in trouble. That shiny plastic coating on regular tape, it melts. It doesn't just melt, it gets gooey and sticky and transfers onto your iron plate. Then that melted glue tape ends up on your fabric, your next project, and possibly your soul, because it can be that frustrating to get rid of. Even if you never iron your patterns, regular tape can still cause problems. Over time, the adhesive yellows and becomes brittle, especially in warm environments. You'll open a pattern a year later and find the tapes turned crusty and the rips wide open all over again. So while grabbing any tape feels like the fastest fix, it's not the safest or the smartest, especially if you ever plan to press your fabric with the pattern still attached, or store your patterns long term. So here's the trick that changed everything for me. Paper bandage tape. You'll find it in the first aid aisle at most pharmacies. It's that matte, paper-textured medical tape that nurses use to hold gauze or bandages in place. Sometimes it's labeled as micropore tape. So why is this stuff better than the other stuff you've got? Well, it's lightweight. It's about the same thickness as your papers, but it's also super, super light. It's heat resistant, so you can iron over it without melting as long as the heat's not too high. It adheres beautifully to tissue paper without warping or puckering, and it stays put for years without yellowing or cracking. To use it, just line up the torn edges of your pattern as neatly as possible. Press the tear flat against a smooth surface. A cutting mat or a clean table will work just fine. Then apply a small strip of paper tape over the tear on one side. If the tear goes all the way through, flip the piece over and tape the back as well for extra reinforcement. And if you're feeling fancy, use scissors to round off the tape's corners. That helps prevent it from peeling up later when you fold the pattern and put it away. So let's talk about exactly what you're going to do when you fix your pattern with your medical tape, your medical paper tape. What do you do? How do you do it? So if you have a rip, you're going to line up the edges. Don't overlap them, just edge to edge so the original measurements stay accurate. If you overlap, you're going to lose a little bit of your pattern. So no overlapping. Then, well, you want to take a small strip of paper bandage tape and press it right across the tear. Smooth it gently with your fingers. Don't stretch it. Don't pull. Just smooth. And it'll all be good as new, I promise. No wrinkles, no shine, and it's still really flexible. You can even fold the piece back up and the tear stays put. And the magical part is you can even iron it if you need to. It's fantastic. Okay? I have had my iron set to medium heat and ironed perfectly well over these. It will not stick. No sticking, no melting, no smell of burning plastic. The tape holds perfectly and the pattern looks untouched. Just remember, no higher than medium heat. If you have an older iron that's hotter than modern irons, you're going to want to turn it down even further. Okay? Do not go on a high heat. High heat will melt a lot of things, and you shouldn't be ironing your paper on high heat anyway because it could catch on fire. So, medium heat or lower. But essentially, I swear by paper bandage tape. Once you switch, you'll never go back to regular tape again, and your patterns will thank you for it. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Maybe your pattern isn't just torn. Maybe it's been through a war, crumpled and folded and missing corners, even taped in all the wrong places. Don't worry, you can fix that too. So if you have crumpled patterns that need flattening, set your iron to a low, dry heat. Place the pattern between 2 sheets of plain printer paper and lightly press. The paper acts as a barrier so you don't scorch the tissue. Again, stay at a low heat, go gently, move quickly. Paper doesn't take long to flatten. Move quickly and then let it cool before you move it. Now, if you have to replace missing sections, well, if you've got a chunk missing out of your pattern, grab some lightweight tracing paper or tissue paper. Lay it underneath, trace the missing outline using, your eye or even using a photocopier if you want to, and then tape the patch in place with that paper tape that we used earlier. Now, if you notice that certain areas are always tearing, like the corners or the darts or the spots that have a lot of markings, put the paper tape on those areas before they rip. It's like preventative medicine for your patterns. Now, what about storing your patterns? Well, humidity is the enemy. Store your patterns flat inside large zip-top bags or clear plastic sleeves with cardboard backing. Or if you like to keep them folded, slip a sheet of parchment or wax paper between the folds to prevent sticking. If they're sticking together, they're gonna tear. Now, what about not cutting the patterns at all? Because if you have vintage patterns, you might not want to chop them up. So for your favorite or vintage patterns, don't cut the originals at all. Trace them onto pattern tracing paper or non-fusible interfacing. Then if one rips, you can just make a new copy. No big deal. Now, I learned the hard way that regular tape just doesn't work for fixing your patterns. We've all done it and we shouldn't. I was making a blouse, one of those complicated vintage ones with more darts than sense. And the sleeve pattern ripped right through the center. I thought, no big deal. Grab some Scotch tape, slap it on, keep going. Then I ironed the sleeve cap while the pattern was still pinned. The tape melted instantly. I had melted glue on my iron, my fabric stuck to the paper, and the whole thing looked like a modern art tragedy. That was the day I discovered paper bandage tape. After a deep dive through the first aid drawer, of course, and I've been preaching the good word ever since. So I've been there. I've wrecked my patterns using Scotch tape and packing tape. I did that one too. You know what? Get yourself some medical tape, put it in your sewing box. You'll thank yourself later. But of course, the best repair is prevention. So here are a few habits that'll help you avoid those annoying rips in the first place. Handle your patterns gently while pinning. Support the paper with one hand while pushing the pin through with the other. Avoid overpinning. A few well-placed pins are better than a forest of them. Use pattern weights when you can, especially for slippery fabrics. Pattern weights will save your patterns. Don't tug on a pinned pattern to reposition it. Unpin and move it properly. I know it takes a little longer and it's all annoying. Do it anyway. And always, always store your patterns dry, flat, and away from sunlight. Sunlight will make them brittle. Sunlight's not gentle on paper. Keep them away from sun. And most importantly, don't get frustrated when a piece tears. It's not a failure. It's just a little hiccup in the creative process. Every sewist goes through it. You're in good company. So, quick recap. Regular tape, bad news. Paper bandage tape, your new best friend. And if you ever find yourself mid-project with a rip, just take a breath, grab a little white roll from your first aid kit, and get back to sewing. Now, I'd love to hear from y'all. What's the worst pattern disaster you've ever had? Did a pet run off with a piece? Did you accidentally iron something you shouldn't have? Or maybe you've got a repair hack I haven't tried yet. Well, that's about it. Drop me a comment below, share your funniest repair story, or let me know a hack that I haven't tried. Happy stitching!